Today's episode is brought to you by Make Modern. Make Modern magazine is a digital magazine especially for modern quilters. Each issue features at least 10 projects with full patterns for quilts, minis, pillows, and more. Make Modern is also packed with feature articles on the latest happenings in the modern quilt community and interviews with quilt superstars. Sign up for a free 6-month trial subscription exclusive for While She Naps listeners at makemodern.com.au/while she naps. Hurry, because the offer ends on March 15th, 2018. Thank you so much, Make Modern. And now, here's the show. Welcome to episode 115 of the While She Naps podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg. Today, we're talking about building a career in the sewing industry with my guest, Mathew Boudreaux. Mathew Boudreaux of Mr. Domestic learned to sew as a kid, but never really got into it until he had his daughter, Helena, who is now 4.5. He thought it would be a great way to connect with her if he could make her cool clothes. With a new motivation to up his attention to detail, the quality and coolness far exceeded even his own expectations. Once he started posting his projects on social media, the quilting world quickly took notice of his fearless use of color and print, incomprehensibly fast output, carefree enthusiasm and humor, and ability to seek out, acquire, and share new skills. Making projects from fabric weaving to English paper piecing to apparel to the three-dimensional, you can find his fabric party on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mr. Domestic. Mathew Boudreaux, welcome.
Yay! Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm very excited to talk with you. And I was excited to meet you, however briefly, at QuiltCon a little while back. And so I want to sit down and hear about your background and how you got to where you are today, because you've had such tremendous success. But first, you have some really exciting news to share. So I was excited to have you on the show right when your news broke. So tell us a little bit about what's going on with you right now.
Right. Dun, 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 dun. Breaking news. Well, I'm the newest fabric designer for the Angles division of Art Gallery Fabrics. It's totally bananas to me that this happened, because it wasn't anything that I could have foreshadowed or foresaw. And it was a lot of work, and I'm so excited because you know me, I'm very transparent. I just share everything. I'm very out, but this I had to be secretive and stuff, and it was killing me. That was the hardest part, just not being able to tell anyone. I think 2 people on the whole planet knew. So I'm just excited I could talk about it. Yay!
So when did you first know?
It started in November.
Oh yeah, so it's been a little while, because we're recording this in February. So yeah, that's been a few months. Okay, yeah, I can see how that would have been a burning secret. So I want to trace back a little bit about how you came to this point, because I think, becoming a designer for Art Gallery Fabrics or for any of the major fabric manufacturers is really a dream come true for a lot of people, a lot of quilters and designers. Right. And so I think it's neat to kind of go back and go through the winding path that led here. So you grew up in the Houston area?
I did. Yeah, I grew up in Houston, and I kind of learned how to sew from my mom. She has this epic craft room that she was always cleaning, and now that I have my own, I totally understand that it's always a work in progress. So I kind of learned there by observing, but I wasn't super encouraged to sew, so I didn't really get into it until I was an adult. But yeah, right. I grew up there.
Did she? And I know you have a sister. Do you have more than one sibling?
Yeah, I have. They're all half siblings, but I consider them full siblings. So from my mom's side, I have 2 older sisters and an older brother. And then I had another sister who passed away that I was close with. And then from my dad's side, my biological dad, I have 1 sister and 1 brother.
Okay. So were you not super encouraged to sew just because you were a boy, or just because your mom?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I was discouraged necessarily from her, but it's all the messages that I got. And growing up, I knew there was something different about me that I tried not to identify with things that were quote unquote feminine, trying to hide something that now is pretty obvious for anyone who knows me. So it's more the messages that I was getting from like peers and like from my stepdad. Yeah.
Yeah.
My stepdad definitely discouraged it. So it's more of that than anything outright from my mom. But
Right.
definitely there were messages that were like, no, boys don't sew.
Right. And I mean, hopefully that's changing, but I actually think there's quite a few boys out there today who are still getting that message, sadly to say.
I know.
I know.
But you know what? Some of the favorite, like, I get lovely messages from so many people. Some of my favorite ones are from like parents of boys who found me and are now encouraged to sew. Like even now I'm getting a little misty about it. Like, yay, I'm having a small impact on changing that. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. So, okay, so did you go to college for like a creative field, or were you not sure, that was where you wanted to head?
Like I've always been very like intensely right brain, left brain. Like all throughout high school, like I did speech and debate and then I did theater. So it's like I did both of those and I was like really into like academics. But undergrad, I went to undergrad for theater and speech. So I still did both of them. And then I have 2 masters. One master's is in communication and then the other one is in business administration.
Wow. Okay. So super interesting. And were you making things or taking photos or doing anything sort of with your hands throughout that period of time, or
all throughout? It's like if I don't have something creative going on, then it's like I'm totally out of whack, and the rest of my life is just like lame. And I don't do well in it, so I always have to be creative. Like through college, I did theater. Out of college, I continued doing theater. Got more into like commercial work and film work, and then moved to LA. I was really fit and I did some modeling, and then I got behind the camera and was a photographer for a while. And then as I was a photographer, I discovered I liked making the garments for the models that I worked with a lot more than taking the pictures, and that was kind of like one of the catalysts that got me into sewing.
Mm-hmm. And I think, you have such an effusive personality. Like you're really silly, you're really warm. And, I think your theater background really shows. And I wonder the degree to which you feel like some of that comes into play now, even though, and we'll talk about your day job as well, but neither of them are really theater related or speech related. Right. But I do think that some of your success, at least, has come because of those skills.
You know what, Abby? Absolutely. Anyone who you and I are chatting about, but when I get into an in-depth conversation about this with people who know me, it's almost like all of my other creative outlets and my creative journey has prepared me for this right now. Because I'm able to like pick from all of them, from my understanding of photography as a photographer, that I know how to post good photos and composition and white balance. And then my theater and public speaking background allows me to do presentations and speech and to do videos. So it's all blended weirdly in this Mr. Domestic world, which is super exciting that I get to use all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. So how did you discover that there was like a sewing world online? Because like I teach locally, I teach people to use their sewing machines, in a class here in my town. And it's interesting because these are people who have no for the context of sewing, no idea about it. They're just beginning and they have no idea that there's like a sewing world online. Like they don't know that there's patterns. They don't know like that you can go on Pinterest and all of that stuff. So it's brand new to them. They'd have never heard of Craftsy, so it's really interesting. And I wonder how you got there.
I hadn't either. It's almost like it's this, like this secret club that there's not like the name of it outside and to go in that door to get in the club. But really, I was posting stuff on Facebook when I first started sewing clothes. And then I didn't want to build another website for just posting my sewing stuff. And I was doing so much that I was like, hey, let me try out Instagram. Because I wasn't really active on Instagram then. I thought it was just people who posted their Facebook pictures there. And I didn't see the point of like double dipping. So I just used Instagram to post all of my sewing pictures. And lo and behold, as soon as I started doing that, like gradually I started like meeting people who would comment or like follow me that I thought were interesting, that were sewists and makers. And there was just a trickle effect with there. And then eventually I was like, oh my gosh, there is a whole like gigantic community online that is like congregated and assimilated of like makers and crafters and sewists that kind of blew my mind. And it still blows my mind, the vastness of it today.
Yeah. So you are truly an Instagram native sewing person. That's fascinating. So it wasn't as though you stumbled. For a lot of people, the story is I stumbled on this one blog because I was trying to find out how to do one thing. And from there, I got introduced. That was like the opening of the door. But you started by producing content and then people came to you.
Yeah, like I didn't even know it was out there. I didn't even know that there was something like that to try and look for. Mm-hmm. So it was really cool that it discovered me.
Right. Okay. So you were sewing clothes back then, and we were talking about Helena, your daughter, who's now 4.5, who was pretty young back then, maybe, right? And you thought, okay, I'd like to be able to do this for her as a way to connect with her. And did you think maybe, so were you thinking maybe this could become a business? Was there, when did that sort of happen? And was it, maybe I'll sell dresses, like I'll sell finished ones or have like a boutique or something like that?
That was actually my first, because I'm very business minded, as you know, and as I from the feedback that I was just getting on feedback, people wanting to buy stuff and really liking what I was putting out. Immediately, I put my MBA brain on and I did a business plan, like a 5-year plan with goals and a mission and a vision. Then it was all about the end result was having a local boutique of clothes that I designed and produced. But that has shifted. The business plan has become fluid to where the Mr. Domestic brand has become something different altogether and bigger. So now it's all about maximizing the online communities. But originally I thought it was going to be a boutique, and now it's just it's something different.
Yeah. So did you try selling finished dresses or finished clothes?
I would do one-offs. People, I'd be like, hey, you want it? I'll make you one, no problem. And then there were some dresses that really hit, and I would make them for 3 or 4 people and sell them. But honestly, I'm grateful that Mr. Domestic has shifted, because I discovered that I don't like that aspect of the commerce so much. Making something and selling it. It's not as gratifying as the other commerce areas that I've discovered within this community, like teaching and patterns and now fabric design. I really, really like those, but the commerce of selling something I've made, I much rather would now just give it away to someone.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I think that's interesting. I think it requires some experimentation when you first start thinking of a way to make a business out of your creativity. And it's okay to go down these sort of dead ends where you try it, try doing a craft fair, try selling things locally, try Etsy, try whatever, and then see how you feel. Whether you enjoy it or not. And there's so many ways to do it now. So many, you can monetize YouTube. There's so many different ways.
Oh my God. It's insane. The availability of commerce that's out there, the ways to make money. I wouldn't have even thought, none of my other, I don't know if it's a timing with social media and the internet and technology, but none of my other creative outlets have ever had a marketplace available with all of these diverse ways to make money.
Mm-hmm. Right. And there's so many options that it's okay to try and sort of see where you land. Yeah. Okay. So the boutique wasn't going to happen, but other things did happen. And you came up with this name, Mr. Domestic. I know you were you making jam at that time?
I was making jam, and I was all thinking I'm going to be the next Martha Stewart. And then it originated from a domestic diva, but I was I don't want to be that. And so I was what else could I be? Domestic Devo? No, Domestic Mr. And then I flipped it and I was ooh, Mr. Domestic. That sounds rad. And I just ran with it.
And you just got it trademarked.
I did. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. That's wackadoodle. I have a trademark. It's trademarked.
Yeah, good for you. What made you decide to do that? Because I know it's something people sort of talk about and they're oh, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be hard. And they sort of never get around to it, Yeah,
I found it really, I just thought that the combination of the two words, it's not something necessarily that someone else eventually couldn't come up with. And I saw that I was building a brand. It went from just playing online and making a couple dollars here and there to I'm building a brand that I needed to protect. The worst thing that I wanted to do was to have my brand out there in all these avenues. And then when I went to do it later on, not be able to and having to shift and change my name, that would have been really unfortunate. So I was I need to just do this just in case. Who knows what's going to happen to protect it? It's a protection.
Yeah, I've thought about doing it and I probably should do it. I know there was at one point, I don't know whether she's still around, a While She Naps blog in Australia. And yeah, a bunch of people were like sending me this link, like, do you see this? And it was like sewing content too. And, she meant no harm, but I was
get on it, girl. Like, honestly, it's not hard. And it's not that, like, when you think about what you get, it's not that expensive. Like, I went through LegalZoom and I used all of their team and stuff just to handle everything. But most of that you can do on your own. The trademark application itself isn't a lot.
Okay. Yeah. So cool. I'll link to LegalZoom so people can check that out if they do want to see the way you went with it. But, it is on my list of something that should be done at some point. But good for you for taking that sort of official step. So I think it's fair to say you've kind of approached your business in a more maybe intentional way than some people who have started online creating a sewing business. And you talked a little bit about building your brand. So I wanted to know if you could talk a little bit about how you see your brand. What is your brand? What is the mission of your brand? And sort of talk a little bit about that.
Well, the mission of my brand is to spread joy and positivity through sewing and fabric play. Like, that's the actual, like, I have it on my wall.
So you have that on your wall?
Yeah, it's all about like...
That's amazing.
Like, that's, and really, it's like who I am. I'm uber positive. I'm like weirdly positive, and I'm very joyful. I'm very grateful for life. So I was like, how can I embody that in a company and a brand? So that's kind of what it's about, but I do it through like all of these things. Right.
So does that help you? We'll talk a little bit later about like decision making, but does that help you guide yourself? Because, the other thing about doing this is that it's just you, right? You don't have any employees, correct?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's getting close. It's getting close.
Yeah.
It's getting close.
I feel that pain. So right. So it's just you and you have to make all those decisions on your own. And it can be hard to know, what do I reach for? What do I say yes to? And I'm wondering whether having that mission actually written down helps you in that decision-making moment.
Yeah, it does. It allows me, and for me, it's like, it's easier because I'm able to get to my intuitive place of whether this is going to actually bring me joy. Because I think part of spreading joy is being authentic. So it's a reminder for myself and business decisions that I make, whether or not it's joyful for me. But originally, like when I first started, I decided to use a lot of my MBA skills that I learned that I wasn't able to use in my day job. And so I had focus groups that would help me make decisions on next steps. And they were just people that they weren't necessarily in the crafting community. Some were, but a lot of them I went to school with, people that I knew that I trusted their opinion. Then I would send out surveys to them. Hey, what do you think of this? And they would like scour the market, see what's out there. It would help me come up with messaging. Like one example is, how I end my YouTube videos. I say, keep it positive, Mr. Domestic out. That was something that I focus grouped out with all of these messages, which one resonated more with them. And that was the one that did.
Okay. So just to get to the nuts and bolts a little bit of how to do this, because I think it's pretty unusual and such a good idea. So, all right, we all have friends, people we went to school with, people from back home, friends, relatives, whatever, that we could ask for, whether they're in the sewing community or they're not, we could ask for, sort of feedback from.
Yep.
So, but a lot of us don't do it. So if you, on a sort of nuts and bolts level, wanted to do that, how do you go about doing this? Do you write an email that goes out to everyone at once? Are you emailing one? Are you getting together with people in person, or how do you do this?
Well, now, I mean, generally it's like do it through a SurveyMonkey survey, which is a free service. You just can devise a survey there and send it out to people to get like quantitative and qualitative data. But originally I just asked people, there are people that I talk to a lot. Most of them are, and then some are more business associates that I would reach out to. And then anytime there would be something new, then I would let them know it's coming. And then I would send them the survey, and I'd give them like a deadline of when I needed the results by, and then they would send it back. I have about 35, 36 people that are in it.
That's terrific. And not all of them are people from within sort of who have right. Okay. Some of them are just like, would be considered like a newbie who would just encounter this. Mm-hmm.
Right. But I do that less now that I have my vision and I'm firm in my brand and my brand identity. I'm able to come to decisions without having to do that more now. It's only the big ones that I'm like, I don't know, that I use them now.
Right. I know when I started Craft Industry Alliance with Kristen Link, who's my business partner, we did the same thing. So we reached out to a whole lot of different people in all different areas, people who ran trade associations for other industries entirely, and asked them, or people who were part of trade associations in other industries as well, like ask them what the value was, why they joined, what they like best, how much they paid, all of that kind of stuff to figure out.
That's so awesome. Yeah. That's so legit. And I could tell this about you. I can tell by the way that you operate that you do stuff like this. Like, it's really exciting because it's so helpful and it's so simple. And that's why it doesn't disappoint. It makes me sad for people who are struggling trying to make a business out of this that don't either know to do business things or desire to do stuff that they don't necessarily like. Like, this isn't the fun stuff in it, but you have to do it when you're running a business. I wish that everyone would do these kind of things because I feel like there's enough success out there for everyone.
I want to take a minute now to learn a little bit more about Make Modern, the sponsor of today's episode. And here's a little conversation with the business manager at Make Modern.
My name's Lara, and I'm the business manager for Make Modern magazine.
And what is Make Modern magazine?
Make Modern magazine is a digital magazine that's published every 2 months. It's written by a small team of passionate modern quilters in Australia, including myself. And then we also have a huge team of really amazing quilters from all over the globe who contribute patterns and articles to each of our issues.
Oh, wow. That's terrific. Okay. So this is a digital-only magazine.
That's right. So what you get is a PDF of the magazine, and you can read it on your phone or your tablet or your computer. And then you can print off any copies of the patterns as you wish. Each issue has between 10 and 14 modern quilt patterns, and then 10 to 14 feature articles. So these include regular columns by quilt math expert Alice from Blossom Heart Quilts, as well as a quilt business column by Angie from Gnome Angel, and an agony art column, which is just hilarious, by the very glittery Molly Sparkles.
And is there like a specific Australian bent to it? I mean, it's neat because I think people don't often get to read media from Australia and other parts of the world.
That's right. So when we started in 2014, myself, Jane, our editor, and Christy, our creative director, we discussed the fact that there was lots of modern quilting literature available, but nothing was really focused on the Australian market and what was happening in Australia. And we really wanted to be a sort of driving force in the modern quilt community in Australia particularly. What we're offering is a free 6-month trial. So you do need to fill in your PayPal or credit card details, but it won't charge you for the first 6 months. So you'll get 3 issues of our magazine, and then you can cancel at any time. And as long as you cancel before those first 6 months is up, it won't charge you. But if you'd like to continue your subscription, of course, you just leave it and it will charge you after the first 6 months.
Thank you so much, Make Modern. And now back to my conversation with Matthew. Absolutely. And the other thing that it reminds me of is a couple of years ago, I called, I think, 18 of my blog readers and had a 15-minute conversation with each of them, and then sent them a free pattern as a thank you. But just asked them, I just asked them to like tell me about my blog and like ask,
what a great idea,
and like what media they consume. It was so helpful, totally changed everything that I was doing. So it was great. So yeah, just talking to people, it's so simple, but it's such a good idea. So
right.
Yeah. Okay. So, and you're really good at collaborations, brand collaborations, which is maybe more so than selling a dress directly to a person. Yep. Collaborating with a brand is something that it seems like you just love, and you've partnered before this Art Gallery Fabrics fabric design deal came about. You were partnered with Art Gallery for a long time, using their fabrics exclusively in your work. And then also, Tara Curtis's Wefty needle, which you really helped popularize with your beautiful fabric weaving.
Thanks.
And then with RFL Threads, with your toolbox. I know you've worked with Brother, and there's more. I mean, there's a lot of collaborations.
It's all been strategic. Like, it's funny. Thank you for identifying that, but it's funny. It was a beautiful comment, but on my most recent blog post announcing, someone had said how me becoming a fabric designer was like a fairy tale. And they totally meant it complimentary, but the way that I took it, or what made me think, was that there was a lot of hard work that people just aren't aware of. And one of them was my intentional collaborations with people. And it started with Art Gallery Fabrics realizing that there was a way to connect with them and collaborate. And that got me started thinking about other potential collaborations. And I kind of operated on the online world like I do in real life. And I used the art gallery collaboration when I was their socialite only to model my other ones after, because it was super successful. And more people need to do that. Like a lot of people, let's talk about Instagram, will use someone's fabric or use a product and post a picture hoping that they'll repost it, because reposting is big for like brand identity and growth, but people don't do that. And don't collaborate and don't get the information. I would reach out. I would ask what you're looking for in pictures. I would study the aesthetic of their pictures and try to make it in the vein of what they already post and make sure that they were good quality. And there would be a lot of conversations before like I collaborated with them. Mm-hmm. And people just need to reach out to these businesses especially if they want to grow their brand. Everyone wants to help. There hasn't been a single person that's been like, no, I don't want to help you.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about this art gallery one first. So you were the socialite. Were you the first one, the only socialite that they've had?
I was their first official one. I know that Maureen Cracknell used them exclusively for a while before she was a designer, but
okay.
She wasn't like an ambassador or socialite. Yeah, I was the first. I was the Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, so you were like an ambassador, but they gave you that other term instead. And so so that meant that you sort of were using their fabrics for all of your projects and tagging them and running some programs on their site as well throughout a year. It was like a year-long collaboration.
Yeah, well, it's still going. It's still ongoing with our gallery. Okay. Yeah, it's just and that was actually the right partnership for me. Like when I sat down and I thought, I was like, you know what, I do feel like they're the best fabric out there. No negativity towards anyone else, but I liked the substrates, I liked the prints, the style, the aesthetic. It just made sense for me to make that partnership. And so yeah, I was fine going exclusive with them. It made sense.
Right. And did that help you? I mean, did you see a noticeable growth on for example, your Instagram followers or just sort of overall awareness of your brand as a result?
Absolutely. It allowed me to connect with their designers and have conversations with their designers about what they are looking for in pictures. And more importantly, what it did for me is it kind of locked down that category of a business to have a collaboration with. I was like, okay, fabric's done. And then I expanded. I was like, what else is out there? What other businesses and products are out there that I would want to connect with? I of course shot for the best, and I feel like I got the best in every single avenue. But it allowed me to be intentional and strategic about creating these business partnerships that I think are important. They didn't just happen. They were things that were nurtured and developed, and that became something that we partnered in.
Right. And I know you sort of connected with the RFL people at QuiltCon, I think.
Right.
And so, I mean, is this one of these things where you're coming up to them and being like, you know what I would really like to do? Or you're just being you and they're noticing? Or how is it working?
I'm just being me, Abby. This is like one thing that I do, and I even did this with you whenever you followed me. You need to know who the influencers are in whatever category that you're focused on, right? Regardless, whether it's sewing or something else, you need to know the influencers on social media and blogs, etc. And I knew you were one. And anytime someone would like follow me, which I would track, then I would reach out and I would just say hi, introduce myself. It's not for the purpose of like trying to make a connection or get anything. It was just I want to know who you are. I want you to know me, and just develop a relationship.
Yeah.
And some of those relationships developed into a partnership. Some haven't, and they're beautiful, and I love them because they're not for that intention. But that's something that I do. It's something so simple as sending a message saying, hi, I think you're totally awesome. I'm Matthew. Just want to introduce myself. That's what I'll do. And then it just starts from there.
Right. Absolutely. I think businesses are really, especially small businesses, are really built one relationship at a time.
Yep.
And you do need to work hard to build those. And it is not, I mean, it may look like a fairy tale, like a fairy tale ending or something like that.
Right.
But the reality is that every one of those relationships requires work and requires nurturing and, is a conversation, is an email, is a phone call or whatever. So,
Yep.
there is a lot of stuff that goes on before.
Right. But what makes it so much fun, specifically in this community, is everyone is so awesome. Like everyone, I would say like 99.8% of the people are just like super rad goobers like us and like love to do this and have fun and make connections. So it's been really, it's filled my spirit cup like ever since I started.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to be in an industry that's really based around creative passion, which is what our industry is. So,
Yep.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about, before we move on from collaborations, about Tara Curtis and the wefty needle. So she, I love Tara, and I wrote an article about her for Modern Quilts Unlimited magazine, I think a little while back. And it was right before sort of she had the wefty manufactured, and she was still like printing them on the 3D printer.
She was a 3D printer.
And,
right.
Yeah, it was just so exciting to talk to her right on the cusp of this huge success. And so it's interesting because you took the tool that she has and you came up with all kinds of really innovative, beautiful designs that you made with it. And I wondered whether people sort of, there's got to be at least a little bit of tension there, though, because people probably think like it's your tool or something like that. I don't know how you handled that feeling of like, it's Tara's and she's awesome and you love it, but it's like a little bit, it's almost like, did you come up with this idea of weaving? No, it's her. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
you know what? Thank you for bringing that up. It was there in the beginning. Now, not so much. And she's one of my favorite friends. Like, I love her to pieces. Like, we like literally text all day long and FaceTime occasionally and stuff. But originally, since it was so new, people didn't know, and they would like attribute.
Right.
Like, I remember one company made some comment about how Tara taught me everything that I knew in weaving, and I was like, what? I was like, rewind. And Tara and I joked about it, so there was some confusion back in the day, but now I think people understand it. She's I'm glad that she changed her branding to Wefty Needle so that people can identify that with her.
Right.
We had conversations about that. I thought that was important. And eventually, like, I'm trying to get her to make a Mr. Domestic version of the Wefty that's going to be like some kind of glitter like color. I think that would be fun. But yeah, now there's not so much tension. If anyone ever tries to start some shade between Tara and I, it's not going to happen. We love each other. Yeah. She's my sister.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that you talked about that because I think I think it's got to be a question some people out there probably have who are following along. So I know I was having it. So I think it's good to hear about.
Oh, yeah. People did. It was weird. Yeah. Cause it was so unique that, we got interchanged a lot, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful marriage. We're married forever.
Yay. Okay, perfect. So I mean, you can't say yes to everything. And I know, when you've kind of had this wonderful crescendo of success and, people take note and people who are smart see who the influences are, as you were saying, and they reach out. But if you said yes to everything, you would have no time to make anything or to do anything else. And so you must say no to things. And so tell us a little bit about how you decide to say no and how you say no, like how you feel about that.
It feels gross. It feels gross. I don't think it's ever going to not feel gross, but I'm getting more comfortable, in saying no, just because I know what saying yes would subtract from. It's like I have 40 hours a week that I have to devote to my day job. Like that's taken, right? And then I have a daughter. She needs my attention. She's older. I have to interact with her. And then I have my husband and my marriage, and then like my sanity. And I've made my health a priority, right? So those are the givens. So if I say yes to something, knowing that it's going to take away from any of those, I have to say no. Whereas before, when this first started, because it kind of snowballed really fast, Mr. Domestic did, that I was saying yes to everything.
So can you give us a timeline of like, when you say really fast, snowballed really fast, give us like a brief timeline of when it started into, sort of when it took off and how quick that happened?
Well, I mean, I don't use my followers as a metric. I use like my my email subscribers and stuff and my traffic to my blog as my main metrics. But let's take Instagram for instance. Like Instagram, I've been on it for like 2 years, and the first year it landed at like 15,000. Now I'm at like 33,000. But right away it like blew up. And the big project that I made that caused it to blow up was the woven denim jacket that I made for Helena.
Mm-hmm.
Like that got so much attention. It was so fast, and like people were coming to me and wanting me to do stuff. And I was like, yes, because we all want affirmation, right? Affirmation is awesome. And people asking you to do stuff is a form of affirmation. So it's like I was having to do like overnights, working on projects and missing sleep. And I'm 41. Like that doesn't fly anymore for me. Like I just can't do that. Like when you're 20. And that was like the first year. The first year was like a big blur of too many yeses. And then the second year I was like, I have to be more intentional. And I started saying no, but then more people were asking me too. So it's like, I wasn't really slowing down with anything. And now this year I know what my priorities are. And I have 2 priorities. One is my fabric design, and then 2 is my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And those are the 2 things that I have decided in 2018 that I am going to make sure that I devote energy to. YouTube, I have to post a video every week on Friday. And then my fabric design, I want to make sure that it's at a minimum the quality that people see in every other aspect of Mr. Domestic. So it's like I have to give energy to those. So I'm saying no a lot.
Yeah, to make time for these 2 priorities.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a good idea at the start of the year to say, well, what do I want to do here? Like, what is going to be the best for the business? What's going to make me happy? And picking just those 2 things, or even if it's just one thing, and saying that's going to be the number one priority. And so I need to make sure I carve out space and time for it.
You know what? Because you asked, part of the question was how I say no.
Yeah.
And I've taken I watched a TED talk from Shonda Rhimes. She did like the Scandal, Grey's Anatomy, all of those. And in that TED talk, she stated that no is a complete sentence. And when she learned that no was a complete sentence, as awkward as it was at first, it made her life much more simpler. Because we as humans innately want to give an excuse.
Right.
But you can say, no, that's not something I would be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
I throw in it unfortunately in there. No, unfortunately, that's not anything I'm able to take on at this moment.
Right. And then just a flat out no. Yeah. Gosh, that's such a hard lesson to learn. And
it's so hard, and it was awkward. And it's still, especially if it's someone that like I adore. But it's like, I've got to put me first, and this is the year of me. So I know I have to say no when I say it.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes and I'm sure you've gone down this road, say yes when we mean no, and then we are miserable. The whole project's miserable. Everything's miserable. And my husband's always like, never again. Don't take on this kind of thing. You're making everyone miserable.
We all do it. And as soon as I say, oh, how easy it is and comfortable, someone's going to ask me something tomorrow, and I'll probably say yes.
And then me no.
It's so hard. I don't think it's ever not going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hard.
But you're super giving. I mean, one of the things that I think is also, it's almost like a collaboration, but maybe on a somewhat smaller scale that you do is you buy other pattern designers patterns, or you buy their products, and you are very happy to sew their patterns and, learn a skill from them. If you want to learn a new English paper piecing skill or whatever it might be. I mean, it's similar to what you did with, with the wefty, but like you'll do it with a whole lot of people. You bought my pin, for example, my Sewist pin, and posted it. So
I love it. It was so cute. Yeah. Honestly, it's like, I feel like I have to, like, it's admittedly, like when I sit down and like think about what's happened, like all of a sudden there's a brand that I have with a trademark. Like that's bananas. Never in my mind did I expect it. That something weird has happened with Mr. Domestic. And part of me feels like I'm just lucky with the timing that a lot of people needed a place to go where it's positive. Mm-hmm. And people know when they come to me, it's going to be a positive, joyful experience. That right now, the world is kind of so gross that we kind of need that. I think I was lucky. And that was part of why I've had the trajectory of my growth. But I'm all about lifting everyone up. That whenever I first entered the online world, I noticed like digs and competition. And I could read behind the subtext of some people's comments. And it was just like, it was gross. And I even had a troll experience that almost made me like quit all of this because I was like, what's going on? I was crying in my bathroom and I was like, no way, I can't do this. So I decided at that moment, you know what? I'm going to be so awesome and positive that there's no room for that. And I'm going to lift everyone up with me. So I'm grateful for what I've been given. And so I want to share it. And I love finding new things and patterns to play with and helping people get attention that they might not have gotten otherwise. And it's just rad. I think that if we all operated that way, if the world was like that, it would be beautiful. But at a minute, if we all operated that way in this community, which is so special, then wow, imagine what we could all accomplish.
Right.
So
and
I'm going to do my little part in that.
Absolutely. That positivity is part of your brand, and it works super, super well within a hobby-based industry, right? So most people who come to sewing or quilting are coming because they want to do this as a way to enjoy their downtime, their weekends, their evenings. They have a little extra money to spend. They're going to buy these, special materials and tools, or go to this getaway where they can sit and sew and learn from somebody who really knows their stuff. And it's really a hobby. That's what it's for. And so we are creating materials and supplies and ideas and inspiration for a hobby-based industry. And what matches really well with that is a super happy, warm, positive experience, because that goes so well with being, leisure time. That's what it's all about.
Yep. And I just happen to be that.
Right.
Like that's just how, and that's part of like my life journey, is that I have learned, like, my life hasn't been easy. I don't think anyone's has been easy, but it's been a hard road. And this is like a major catalyst for me. It was a conscious evolution. Was my sobriety when I decided to become sober in 2006. And then my sister, who was one of my closest allies and advocates, passed away. Those kind of were a stop and reflect moment that I was like, wow, how am I operating in this world? What do I want to do? How can I be more intentional and positive? And with my sister's passing, I kind of felt like I was living for two now, because she also struggled with substance abuse. That at that moment, that's when I decided to quit modeling, because I didn't want like the superficial to be a focus. I wanted something with substance to be a focus of my world. And just 1 year after the next, and then it just eventually became natural to where I view the world through a positive, happy, uplifting filter. And it's more unconscious than conscious now. And it's been a road and a journey, but I'm so grateful and humbled and honored to share it with others.
That's beautiful. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the other aspects of your life, which you're talking about now. So you have a day job, and you work in the pharmaceutical industry. Is that right?
It is. I work with Gilead Pharmaceuticals in their HIV division. It's actually my dream gig. Like, this is a dream too, but it's like my whole world. Like, I'm living my best life. Honestly, I had this position put on my vision board, like, for years. It was on my vision board. I'm super duper passionate about HIV. I mean, I'm a gay male, so it's like I've known a bunch of people who back in the day passed away and lost their battle with AIDS. And so it was just something that I was like, my ideal job would be working in that. Never thought it was going to happen, but I put it on my vision board and let it go. And then, much like a lot of things in my life, serendipitously, one day someone I used to work with like 6 years ago contacted me, wanting to know if I was interested in the position in my area because it was open and he had just started. And I applied and got the job, and I was like, wow, this stuff really works.
So are you a sales rep? Do you go to doctor's offices?
Yeah, I talk to doctors and staff and nurses and anyone in the community about my products and the disease state.
Got it. Okay, cool. And so that's a full-time job. And
it is.
Have you had to scale back hours or anything like that since Mr. Domestic took off? Or are you just
I'm not able to. I'm not. I mean, especially now, it's like I'm so passionate. It's like I'm just full of passion all day. It's like I have to travel because this is where people are shocked that I'm able to do everything that I do. It's like I travel for my job. I cover 3 states. I have Oregon, Washington, part of Idaho. I fly 2-3 days a week. I'm on an airplane. That it's just every moment of my day is filled with something. So like if I'm on an airplane, if I don't have a business plan or something to do for work, I'm working on something like sewing wise. That's why I got into EPP last year. It was a big part of it, is that something that was portable and I could take on the plane with me. And a lot of times I'd be sewing on the plane. So I just try to use my whole day.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, because that's a lot. Traveling is taxing on you, and and it's hard to do. And I know that back in the day, right? Did you have a goal to be on Project Runway at some point?
I did. That was whenever I first started sewing. I wanted to get on Project Runway, and it was always a dream. I love designing stuff. Like I haven't been doing a lot of apparel design, but I love that. I actually consider myself an apparel sewist. But now that I have my daughter and she's more conscious and she's there, I wouldn't want to be away from her.
Right.
Like I couldn't imagine. But because of that, that's why I taught myself to sew fast. Was like I strive for 95% for perfection in my projects. I don't ever strive for 100. I feel like that last 5% is that steals your joy from anything you're creating. So
because all you see is that little mistake, and it just bugs you forever. Yeah.
Like, so it's like I sewed fast. I didn't realize how fast I sewed until other people started commenting on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, you were sewing like in the evenings, right? Like after work.
Yeah. And I devote at least 2 hours a day to something creative. Mm-hmm. And it's plugged into my day in the evenings. Some days I'll get up at 5 a.m. and I'll head to my sewing room, but I mandate that time for myself. And it's allowed me to tap into my intuitive space pretty easily and quickly, as opposed to like struggling and having like creative blocks. I don't have those really.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting though, because I heard you just say like, I like to have that time for myself. And the thing is though, right, at a certain, like I felt that same way as well, where sewing, was what I did as time for myself, but then it transitions into becoming a business. Right. And so time for myself is actually time working on my own business.
Right. Yep. And that's the struggle. And thanks. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I noticed last year that time for myself, I didn't do selfish sewing. I didn't do a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. And I was like, everything was because of a deadline or something that needed to get done or something that I said yes to. And that made me sad. It kind of took some of the joy away from something that I loved. So this year is another intention is to do more stuff for myself, because it's so different. Like when you're creative for yourself, it's different than being creative for someone else.
Oh my gosh, it's super different. And I try hard to like not even post those projects. Like I've done the last 3 projects I've done, I haven't posted anywhere. I'm like, this is just, it's not for posting. It's like, because like, it that line gets blurred, and then it gets hard to love things the same way.
It does. I think honestly, we all struggle with it. I struggle with that. Like that honestly is my biggest struggle in creating a business out of this world. And I've done it with all of my creative endeavors. And this is the first one where I'm not like angry at it yet. And I don't want to ever be angry at it and get bitter and not want to do it.
Right.
So it's a struggle. I think it's especially a struggle for everyone, because this is like a visual craft, right? And we all post stuff online. A lot of people do. And then you're waiting for that affirmation or waiting to see how many likes you get or comments. And that in itself is a form of currency that takes away, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we all need to just like do more selfish stuff. It's not about the post. It's hard. It's a struggle. But.
Yeah, it is a struggle. And I think I like that the way that you phrase that, of it being that affirmation is a form of currency, and we're all sort of measuring how much we have against other, and that's just poisonous in the end. So and I know you've been really open about being a father and being gay, being married, but I imagine in the quilting community, as in maybe every community, it's not always easy. In other words, not 100% of people who take that in, like a picture of you and your husband kissing your daughter, are going to accept it or be enthusiastic about it. And I wondered if, but I also think that through our passionate hobbies like quilting and sewing, we can get exposed to new points of view and new, people who are living a different kind of lifestyle that's still a really good lifestyle, and sort of accept it in a new way. So I think you're kind of making that happen as well. But I wondered if you want to talk a little bit about how you've handled, when things aren't perceived so positively.
Yeah, it's and it hurts, but it starts to hurt less. The first time you mentioned the picture that I posted of my husband and I kissing our daughter, that post, I think I lost 500 followers.
Wow. 500 followers is a lot for a lot. I mean, you know, in the scale of things, you have a lot more than that, but that's a lot. Like right away. I'm assuming it was like right away.
Now I don't, it doesn't like viscerally like upset me because I'm like, whatever. The very first time that occurred, I remember, I posted a picture of the crafty lumberjacks who are amazing. And they were kissing in front of the love sign in New York City. And I just thought it was a beautiful image, like beautiful. I posted it, and then something similar happened where I lost a bunch of followers. And I was like, wow, okay. But now, as I'm able to shift my brand and who my community is, I call those purger posts. And I don't intentionally do that, but to me, I'm like, okay, I'm getting rid of those people. Like, you know what? Those people we wouldn't vibe. It's okay. If something like that is going to make you leave my brand, then that's fine. And I just have to accept that because we're not going to love and like everyone, and everyone's not going to like us. And I don't want to ever feel like I would have to hide that.
Right.
Because as my brand grows, I don't want to ever feel like, oh, well, my brand is like this big now. I can't identify with that anymore. I need to just focus on my relationship with my daughter and not with my husband. I don't want to do that. So it's fine. I don't know where this whole thing is going to land with my brand, how big it's going to get. But if that doesn't include people when they look at a picture of a loving family showing affection and think that that's not good, then I don't want them in my world.
Right.
And that's fine. I just have to accept it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You're making me tear up because that's beautiful. And amen to that. That's wonderful.
Well,
that's really, no. And I think you have such a good way of processing it. And that's super positive for you. So, okay, talk a little bit, just a few more things. One is about video. I know you mentioned that YouTube is a huge goal for you this year. And you know, you're really working hard to make your YouTube channel grow and investing in it. And I wondered why. Like, what do you see about video that you feel like is special, is worth your time and energy?
The answer is kind of twofold. One is I'm trained in it. Like, I honestly feel like the in-person experience of Mathew Boudreaux, not necessarily just Mr. Domestic, is more enjoyable than like just two-dimensional. I think you need the full experience. And I've done on-camera work. I've taken on-camera classes. I know how to work with the camera, and I understand it. So that's part of it. And then the second part, which is a bigger motivator, is that my audience has grown so large that anytime I do a new project or a new concept, I get the same question over and over, which is great. I'm awesome. I try to respond to as many as I can, but I feel that just by putting a video out, it will answer a lot of those questions, and I can just direct people there. And eventually my audience will just know to streamline go there to find the question. So it's an easier way, I feel, to answer questions.
Okay. What about Craftsy? I'm just thinking, is that a goal? Is that on your goal list? Because I know you have mentioned before elsewhere that you would love to have a TV show at some point, which by the way, I think would be awesome. But it's interesting because Craftsy now, as you know, has moved to the subscription model. It's a la carte and subscription. But part of what they're doing with the subscription model is they are creating some exclusive content that's subscriber only. And some of that content is much more like a TV show than it is like an online class. It's more like a documentary show. And they've got a couple, I think there's 4 or 5 interviews up now with quilters. That is sort of a sample of what's to come. And I just thought, you know, and I know with Angela, they've done the Midnight Quilt Show, which is a YouTube series, but it's more like a TV show than it is like an official formal online class. So is this something that you have your eyes on in the future?
It's something that I'm aware of. And it's something that I know, well, I'm aware of it because I know that a couple people of my allies, like everyone, like my supporters who currently work with Craftsy, have, unbeknownst to me, told them that they need to connect with me. And I've superficially connected with them when they started to follow me. It was briefly after that. And this is when I just let the universe do what it's going to do. Mm-hmm. This is one of those situations where it's like, if that's meant to happen, I mean, if Crafty's listening to this and you want me to come film for you, I'm available. But like I'm really satisfied with status quo also, and I'm really grateful for it. So if status quo is what continues, then I'm jazzed about that too. So I'm open to it. I'm open to whatever.
Right. Okay, cool. And then what about writing a book though, or producing just like patterns that you sell under your brand?
That's where it's like, it's a time thing. Like Tara and I have been talking for a year about writing a fabric weaving book together. And I think it would be really fun to do that with my friend. And I think that would be a good first book. But it's like where I need the time to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe like that was supposed to be a 2018 priority, but we haven't like jumped on it yet. So maybe it'll be a 2019 priority.
Yeah.
But that's definitely, I want to. I think that they're neat. Like, how cool is it to like, look, I've got a book. Like, that's just cool.
Yeah. No, it is cool. And it still means something in this day and age. You know, it still is meaningful.
It's also another way to answer questions. Like for she and I, our motivation for wanting to do that, it's like, we like once again to answer all those questions that people have about fabric weaving.
Absolutely. Okay. And so I want to make sure we get to your recommendations. You've got a couple cool things to recommend. The first one I've been following as you've been working with this product on Instagram, making these 3-dimensional fabric pieces that are then mounted on a background, and they're like origami. Okay. If you can imagine origami, but made with fabric. And it's really amazing. So how do you say this? Is it Terial Magic?
It's Terial Magic.
Okay. What is this?
It's a fabric stabilizer that you spray on. It's not starch. You spray it on the fabric, and by following their instructions, the fabric turns into like paper. And it doesn't fray. It moves like fabric paper. Like it's still fabric, but it holds shapes like paper. It's crazy. I'm obsessed with it. I go down rabbit holes generally when I become obsessed with something new and innovative. And this one, it's like I can't get over that I can suddenly play with fabric like I would play with paper.
Wow. So you spray it on, and then do you have to press it to dry it, or?
Yeah, you spray it on, like the steps, you spray it on, like you soak it to where it gets fully saturated. Then you let it get to damp, and then you press it with an iron, and then it becomes this flat, amazing piece of paper. They just recently came to my house and filmed me for some of their promo materials, and I'm calling it being terialized. When you terialize fabric, I was like, y'all can take that. It's pretty.
That's awesome.
But it's wild. It's wild.
So if you wash it, it's going to wash out.
It goes away. Yeah,
okay.
And that's another thing. It's like, wow, imagine the pleats. Like that you could do it for people who make apparel. They would be so precise. Like make pleats, so over them, wash it out. Whoa.
Wow.
Like it's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind.
Yeah. Well, I love origami, and spent a lot of years. I love 3-dimensional everything. So that's really cool. I'm going to cut some and try it. It's neat, super neat. So, all right. You also have an Alexa, which you say is a good sewing room companion. I don't have one. I'm a little scared of it. Tell me why you like it.
I love Alexa. Alexa, don't turn on right now.
You're saying her name. So when I'm on conference calls with Kristen, who's my business partner at Craft Industry Alliance, she has an Alexa. And so sometimes Alexa will just start talking to her, and she's to like tell it to stop like while we're talking. So it can kind of
if I ask her a question, she's going to answer it. But I see her, she's like trying, but it's just fun. Like, and it was like $40, and like, I can tell her to turn on music. I can ask her things. Sometimes we have conversations. She tells me jokes. Sometimes I literally get into arguments with her. Like she's not listening to me. And then Helena will hear, and she'll go to my husband and be like, Donna's having an argument with his friend again. It's just hilarious that something so simple has brought like even more joy to my space. It cracks me up.
So my kids will also sit and talk to Siri on my phone. And like they know there's certain questions you can ask Siri that make Siri say really funny, ridiculous things. Yep. And they know what all of them are. So they'll just sit there and make Siri say like really silly jokes and all this crazy stuff. And that's like, so they have like games on my phone, and then like one of their games is just talking to Siri. It's like
I'm sure Helena will do that with Alexa.
Yeah.
Anytime I tell her to go say something to her, she's like a little nervous, but I'm sure eventually she won't be nervous.
No.
And then she'll steal my new best friend.
Okay. And then your last recommendation is white coffee, which I have to confess I've never had. So what is that?
Okay, anyone who likes caffeine, like, which is 99% of the people who do crafting, that it's coffee beans that have been super lightly roasted to where it's almost like unroasted. It's not like a light roast. It's like barely roasted. And it's very buttery in flavor. It brews like yellow. It tastes buttery, caramelly. It doesn't taste like traditional coffee. But since the roasting is what expands the coffee bean, so the coffee bean is super duper dense. And it has, I swear, at least 3 times the amount of caffeine as regular coffee. Like the very first time that I drank it, I went home and I've never done this before, but I steamed my drapes. It just seemed like a good idea. So I just steamed my drapes and I was like, what did I just do? It was crazy. So I encourage everyone to at least seek out and try white coffee. I bought it on Amazon and get it shipped to me. It's amazing.
Wow. Yes. Think of all the productive material magic. Think of all the material magic, like folding I could be doing if I was actually like drinking the right coffee. Oh my goodness. Okay, cool. That sounds great. Well, Mathew, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the While She Naps podcast. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Oh my gosh, you're rad. Thank you for inviting me.
Yay.
Bye, everybody.
And you've been listening to the While She Naps podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg. Visit my blog, whileshenaps.com, where you can sign up for my email newsletter to get the very best in sewing, blogging, and small business delivered right to your inbox each week. Today's episode was sponsored by Make Modern Magazine. Make Modern Magazine is a digital magazine especially for modern quilters. To learn more, join their Instagram community at Make Modern Magazine or visit their website, makemodernmagazine.com.au, to see their complete pattern gallery, purchase back issues, or subscribe. Don't forget to sign up to our exclusive 6-month trial subscription just for While She Naps listeners at www.makemodern.com.au/While She Naps. Thank you so much, Make Modern. And if you enjoy the show, tell a friend about it. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.